So those of you that know Dr. Brooks really well, you know that he paid no attention to that announcement. Doesn't even know I'm talking. So we still have a few chairs under the tent if you're interested in sitting under the tent. If not, certainly right outside the tent is perfectly fine. Good morning. My name is Hope Rivers, and for those of you that I have not had an opportunity to meet, I am the president of Piedmont Technical College. So before we officially get started, I wanted to take a moment to thank some folks who work behind the scenes and like to stay behind the scenes. As a matter of fact, some of them I think are still behind the scenes, and I said to them, make sure when I start you're not behind the scenes. But I think they are. So let me first thank the Ribbon Cutting and Retirement Committee. They did a yeoman's job of just meeting and putting this together and thinking about what this could be and what this should look like, and I greatly appreciate them. I want to do a special thanks to both Sally Cook, Sally's walking away the opposite way, Fran Wiley, and Russell Martin. And Russell's coming up that way. So this little dream team was always working and always meeting. And I would come in and they would be dead silent. Like, oh, we're going to meet tomorrow. I'm like, nope, you're meeting right now. So I really appreciate them for all that they did. I also want to take a moment to thank our maintenance, facilities, and grounds crew. They were busy working up until this morning. They wanted everything to be perfect. And I want to say to them, it is. So I don't know where Phil is, but I want to specifically thank him for all of the work that he did with the team during this time. I also want to thank IT from telling me right now to come closer to the mic or step back. They are always there and always willing to help and make sure that our vision comes through. So I appreciate them for all of the work that they do behind the scenes. Lastly, I would like to thank Daniel, and I have not seen Daniel. Daniel is the program director of Horticulture. Oh, there's Daniel. He is the program director of Horticulture. Even when I was leaving yesterday, Daniel was working on his vision for the college, not just this area, but for the college. And the love and energy that he put into setting this up and making sure that the college looks really nice is just admirable. And I appreciate you, Daniel. So I want to thank you all for coming and joining us this morning. This is truly a historic day that represents both the culmination of a career of a brilliant visionary and the legacy of one of the college's most dedicated supporters. This exceptional facility will forever be linked not only to the longtime advocacy of the late Senator Billy Odell, but it will also be linked to Dr. Ray Brooks for his leadership at Piedmont Technical College. I'd like to take a moment to recognize members of Senator Odell's family, his wife, Miss Gail Odell, and family, if you all would please stand. I'd also like to acknowledge Mr. Bill Hollingsworth. I know I saw, if you would please stand. Mr. Bill Hollingsworth and his family, Mr. and Mrs. Edward and Elizabeth Moss, who graciously donated the land for which this center is on right now. Thank you. I would be totally remiss if I didn't just take 1 second to recognize my family. To my husband, Thomas, to my daughters, Hannah and Taylor, thank you, and thank you for all of your support. And although this gentleman is a stranger to no one who is present today, I would like to take a moment to recognize Dr. Ray Brooks and his lovely family. Dr. Brooks, if you and your family would please stand. We honor you today. We celebrate everything that you did for this college today. Dr. Brooks left an imprint on this college that we will forever be grateful for. Nearly every day in my tenure here, we laugh at one, maybe two, sometimes five, of the colorful expressions that Dr. Brooks would say. So we're going to just say a couple of them. And just so that those of you that don't know this side of Dr. Brooks, how you couldn't, I have no idea, so that you will hear. But if the staff were to go into Dr. Brooks's office, if they were concerned or anxious about a huge project or something big that is coming down the pike, he would listen or pretend to listen, and then he would say, "How do you eat an elephant?" One bite at a time. Another quick one, because other people are going to come up and talk, that I'd like to share with you is most recently, I called Dr. Brooks to share some updates, tell him what's going on the campus, and certainly to get his words of wisdom. He listened attentively, and then he said, "Dr. Rivers, the turtle did not get on the fence post by itself. Somebody had to put it there." That was the answer. In his own words, he reminds us that we have to work to make things happen. This will not magically appear. Dr. Brooks and Senator Odell strategized. They looked at all angles, and together they made things happen. So those of you that know Dr. Brooks well, and his sister actually just confirmed this story, you know that he loves to fix things. Sometimes I think he breaks them just to fix them. But he loves to fix things, but especially cars. So when you enter into the building, as a token of our appreciation for all of his years of service and the measurable progress that he made at this college, we chose the symbolic symbol of a retractable tape measure to give away in celebration of him. So when you go on the inside and you'll see them in a bucket, I will encourage all of you to grab one of those. It represents the legacy that Dr. Brooks leaves behind. He emphasizes the importance of measured progress, lean principles, and data-driven decision making. And most of all, he loves the trades. For the entirety of his 13-year tenure at Piedmont Technical College, he consistently moved the college forward. We witnessed the completion of major capital projects in Abbeville, in Lawrence, Elkham, McCormick, in Newberry, and then right here in the Odell Center. Beyond building state-of-the-art buildings, Dr. Brooks has consistently promoted the importance of diversity, inclusion, innovation, and lean processes. For his steadfast commitment to excellence, we are forever grateful. So before I turn the microphone over to Mr. Richard Kane, the chairman of our area commission, to bring you greetings and an invocation, I'd like to give you just a few quick announcements. Number one, the event is being live streamed over the college's social media. So if you'd like to view it later or tell a family member about it now, it's www.ptc.edu/live. Also, we have our lovely group of presidential ambassadors who are here to assist you. They're going to assist you with tours, but if you need anything else, find the ambassadors. They have on, if you guys would raise your hands, they have on the blue shirts. They're so precious coming in this morning all together. And then lastly, I want you to know that the restrooms are located right behind the lobby, and they are clearly marked. So at any point, if you need to use the restrooms, please feel free to do so. Mr. Kane, I will invite you to the microphone.
Thank you, Dr. Rivers. Well done. There are so many people to thank. We're glad that each of you are here today. So many of you have had much to do behind the scenes and perhaps on the front line as far as completing this, making this wonderful day possible. I wanted just to share with you as chairman of our commission that Piedmont Technical College is in sound shape, good condition, and we're thankful for that. A lot of that goes to the credit of Dr. Brooks, and also we're fortunate to have such a good leader in Dr. Rivers as she begins her tenure here at the college. We're so thankful and look forward to a bright future here. It's a privilege to serve as chair of this commission. I would compliment each and every commission member. I believe they will be recognized later, so I will not do that, take time to do that. But today we're celebrating, as Dr. Rivers mentioned, the Odell Center, the grand opening, I guess you would say, at this point. And we're also celebrating, we're privileged to have a double celebration, and that we're celebrating the service and the leadership of Dr. Brooks and his retirement. If retirement is possible for you, Dr. Brooks, I know you're busy doing something. We miss you on the commission, in the commission meetings, even though most of those have been on Zoom. It's been an unusual time, but a good time. But Dr. Brooks has always made the commission meetings enjoyable and entertaining and informative as well. But in 2016, the citizens of Greenwood County voted to pass a capital project sales ballot measure by a large margin. You may remember this was a vote of confidence in the college here and all that the college had accomplished, and hopes and dreams for the college in the future. And also it was a compliment to county's leadership to make this vision today a reality. This facility really stands here today, and we give thanks to Dr. Brooks for his leadership and his hard work, and all the hard work of the college staff, our legislative delegation, and our community that have supported us so so loyally, the partners, all the partners, to create something that's really special. And we do have something special here today. The Odell Center is a life changer for many people. In fact, it's already having an impact on students who come here, on existing and prospective companies that come to the area and our region. And on behalf of the Area Commission today, I'd like to thank you all for your continued support of this important work that the college does here. Your support, your partnership have made a new facility, the dream of a new facility like this, a reality. And it'll impact this community for generations to come. So thank you all for your attendance today, for being a part of this celebration. Thank you, Dr. Brooks, and all those who have already been mentioned. I won't go back through the list, but there's so many to thank, and we're glad you're here. Some are not able to be here that also had input into the success of this facility, and we're thankful to all. I would ask at this time that we pause and pray in prayer, a prayer of dedication and also a prayer in regard to Dr. Brooks's retirement, and our celebrating that today as we're doing. Let us pray. Our loving and faithful God, we come to you this day on this day of celebration with excitement and anticipation that we've already experienced. Lord, we pause, however, to give you thanks for all that has been accomplished. May it be, as the psalmist once said, may the favor of the Lord our God rest upon us. Establish the work of our hands for us. Yes, establish the work of our hands. We trust this facility and all who work here and visit this place to be in your grace, your mercy, and your protection. We ask for your favor to rest upon all those who work here and attend here, who seek an education and betterment of their lives and the lives of others. We thank you for the leadership of Dr. Brooks, the administrators, the teachers, the students, and others who have supported these accomplishments. We also come today in great celebration for Dr. Brooks and his leadership and his guidance, how he's given himself to move this accomplishment forward, and many others he has made possible. Thank you for the commitment and the leadership of Dr. Brooks, who has given so much for the success of Piedmont Technical College. Lord, we ask your blessings upon him and his family in all his endeavors to come. Dear Lord, please touch each heart today with joy and with peace as we celebrate together. May this day of celebration serve in our memory to help us realize that all things are possible in you. In your holy name we pray. Amen. I'd like to introduce to you Jane Herlong, who will be singing the Star Spangled Banner. Jane?
Well, I just can't sing right now. I am gonna, but I got to say a little something. And I came on board as a commissioner. I had the privilege of working with Dr. Walters, and oh my goodness. And I remember one of our sessions in Columbia, I met Billy Odell. Oh my goodness. I feel like I'm a better person. Gone too soon. What a wonderful man. And then one day, and the door opens in the boardroom, and walks Dr. Ray Brooks. And he sat down, and the first thing out of his mouth was, "I don't need this job." And I fell in love with that man right then. And my goodness, then the incredible Dr. Hope Rivers, gracious. We are so privileged. Do y'all know that your mama is amazing? And y'all are beautiful. And Thomas, may I just thank you for sharing her with us. I know you all had a family decision, and we have just been enamored with this beautiful woman inside and out. So, Dr. Brooks, we miss you, honey, but you handed the baton to an amazing woman. So I'm going to ask you all to stand and sing with me. And I'm going to take the liberty of saying remain standing, because after this we have the pledge. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated.
You know, it's dangerous to give the microphone to somebody that doesn't have a job. And they kept telling me, they said, "No, you know, we're going to have a lot of people here, and we'd like to know what you're going to say." And I said, "Well, I hadn't wrote anything down yet." And so Sally called me yesterday and said, "Well, have you thought about your remarks?" I said, "No." And I said, "I think we're going out for happy hour Thursday night, have a few adult beverages, and I may think about them a little bit there." And I said, "The other thing is they might dream a little bit, think about a few things." I do have a lot of things I want to say about Billy that I'm going to talk about here in a minute. But first, I want to recognize my wife, Pam. Pam, stand up. We met at a trade school. They didn't call them technical colleges back then, and she was taking a course or a program, and I was too, and we started dating and got married. And then later on, my son Ben and his lovely wife Rachel, who are the parents of our grandson Grayson. Stand up, please. Let's recognize y'all. Okay. Thanks. Y'all can sit down now. Then my favorite sister. I only have one sister. So that's my favorite sister, Patty. And she's here with us today. But one of the reasons I wanted to talk briefly about them is I did not take the traditional route through school. I used to use the analogy that people, if they were going from Chattanooga to Atlanta, most people would get on the interstate in Chattanooga and drive to Atlanta. And I said, I got off on every exit, and I backtracked 2 or 3 times, and but I was in school for probably 30 years in addition to working. It took me 4 years to get a 2-year degree, but all that time took all of those activities took a lot of time, and there was many times. I know when Pam would try to keep Ben out of my hair, I was trying to write a paper on and when he was small, on some kind of deadline, and then it took a family effort to do that, a lot of people working together for a common cause. And Jim Suber and I were talking about that a little bit this morning, and I'm going to talk about that a little later in this program. But, you know, nothing happens in happenstance. It happens because somebody put something in motion, like-minded people get together, they work hard, they work with synergy, and they know what they want to do, and they've got some kind of idea, and it draws other people to it. And we all stand on those that came before us. Rosemary and Dan Walters, please stand up. One of the things that Dr. Walters, many things Dr. Walters did, but a couple of things he did directly that results in us being here today, and we appreciate y'all being with us today. And the Moss family, I know Mr. Bill Hollingsworth is with us representing the Moss family. Bill, thank you for being here. But Elizabeth and Edward Moss were two of the most generous and kind people you could ever meet. I had the opportunity to meet Elizabeth. Edward had passed by the time I came here. I heard so many wonderful stories about him. But they saw fit to donate their farm, which is the land we're sitting on here. And without that, one of the first things I asked Charles Williams when I came to Greenwood was, I said, they got to have some land here. We got to build something. You got to build something. And he said, we got that taken care of. And it was, Charles, we came in through Abbeville yesterday, and one of the stories that y'all just going to have to bear with me. If you get tired and you need to go do something, just get up and leave. It ain't going to bother me in a bit. But I'm going to keep talking. And but we came through Abbeville yesterday, and the first time Pam and I came over here, we were contacted, or I got a contact about applying for the job. And first I said, no. I did basic training in Columbia, South Carolina in 1969 or 70, somewhere back in there. And I prayed then if I got out of South Carolina, it's in July is when we started. I said, if I get out of South Carolina alive, I swear to God, I'll never come back. And so anyway, here I am driving over here to look at applying a job. And we came through Abbeville, and Pam said, there's a sign that says Piedmont Tech. And it's on the road where West Carolina Telephone Company is. So we turned up that road, and there was all these house trailers sitting out there. Sidewalks with covers on them, and we went by it, and I'm like, well, where is it? We turned around, went back, and she said, there it is. And I'm like, oh, my God. And I said, we need to go home. And she said, well, we're this far. Let's go on to town. And we did. And one of the things I guess the first time I ever talked to Charles, really, I said, we got to do something over here. I said, I don't know what it is and how we're going to do it, but we got to do something. We can't have students going to school in house trailers that the school system won't even use anymore. And Jim, you know how bad they have to be before the school system won't use them. And thanks to the school system for giving them to us. But anyway, and that was part of it. But getting back to Lex, another project that Lex had, and this is sort of a hybrid of it, was one of the CPIP projects, Comprehensive Program Improvement, or whatever that stands for. I never could get those acronyms all right. But there was a building on there for an industrial facility. And so we always kept that on the back burner. And then a few years ago, when the opportunity came, Steve with the county council was looking at a local option capital project sales tax. We had brought that up and said we'd like to do so-and-so. And I know Jim Medford's probably going to talk a little bit about this, but I remember one night at Stony Point, we had nothing but a drawing on a piece of cardboard or paper. It actually looked like an architect had done it, and I'm not sure who had done it. Somebody may have done it after drinking a little. But it was a floor plan for a building, and the folks from Tajin that are here with us tonight, and some of their colleagues were out there, and Jim starts telling them we're going to build this facility. I'm sitting over there thinking he must know where there's some money at, because I don't have a clue where the money's coming from. But he said, we're going to build this building so we can take care of your training needs. And so we're here today to do that, and we're really pleased. But there's a lot of people that were involved in that decision and this decision, and I'm supposed to go through and recognize folks. The people that I work for and that Dr. Rivers works for, or the area commission for the college. For the ones of y'all that don't know, they're recommended by the delegation from the counties they serve and then appointed by the governor, and they're the governing body of the college. So with members of the area commission, both past and present, that are here, please stand and be recognized. And we have, South Carolina is a public institution, and as that, we depend on the General Assembly for portions of our funding. And in South Carolina, the technical colleges have always been served well by the members of the General Assembly. And we're very fortunate in this area that today we have with us Mr. Mike Gambrell, who represents Abbeville County, actually holds the seat that Senator Odell once held. We have Senator Billy Garrett with us that represents Abbeville and McCormick. I don't think Ronnie Cromer, Shane, or Nikki Seltzer, or Danny Verdon are here. I haven't seen them. We also, y'all want to stand up where we can clap for you? Stand up. And I would ask the members of the House of Representatives, please stand as I call your name where we can appropriately recognize you. I'm a little rusty at this. I used to be better at it. But you know, I don't care. Miss Ann Parks represents Greenwood County. I saw Ann. Mr. John McCravey represents Greenwood County. And we have our former state senator from Greenwood County, Mr. Floyd Nicholson. Floyd, will you please stand? Let's see here. Dr. Rivers is acting nervous over here behind me. We've got several technical college system office personnel with us. I got to go back and forth between these two lists. Sally needs to do better than this. We got, if you're from the South Carolina Technical College System, please stand as I call your name. Let's recognize you as a group. We got Mr. Tim Hardy, who's president. Mr. Candy Peacock, who's Chief Human Resource Administrator. I got to tell a story about Candy. The ones of y'all know me, know I love to tell stories. When we were getting ready to interview at the local level, Candy had called me the week before and said, is Miss Brooks going to be accompanying you? You know what I'm going to tell, don't you, Candy? She said, is Miss Brooks going to be accompanying you to the interview? And I said, well, is it required? And she said, no. And I said, and the ones of y'all that know my wife know she'd rather stay at home and do quilts or stained glass or whatever it is she's working on at the time than be out and about. And so I asked her, and she said, well, if it's not required, I'll just stay home. So now I'm coming over here, I'm interviewing on a Wednesday, and I'm coming over here on a Tuesday, so I'll be here and know I got my act together. And I was telling somebody, Alicia, this morning, the ones of y'all know me too, I got 4 teeth knocked out playing football, and I always wear a partial. And when I'm not working a lot of times, I don't wear my teeth. And so the last thing on my checklist was bring your teeth. So I got them. But anyway, I called Candy and I said, Pam says she's not, oh no, Candy called me and said the Air Commission wants to meet Miss Brooks. I said, they do? She said, yeah. And I said, you don't understand. She's got something very important planned. Candy said, well, what's that? I said, hairdresser. You don't mess with a woman and her hairdresser appointment. And I said, you have to get them things a long time in advance. And I said, the second thing is our son and daughter-in-law, or our son and future daughter-in-law are getting married this summer, and I know they got something going on talking about that. And so finally, Candy said, well, the commission wants to see your wife. And I'm like, well, what if my wife don't want to come? I said, do I need to just withdraw? Well, no, we don't want you to do that. And I said, well, I'll talk to you and call you back. Well, anyway, I went and talked to Pam. She said, well, I'll go if you want me to. And I said, I really don't care. I don't know if I want to work. That goes back to what Jane said. I said, I don't know if I want to work for these people. They ain't hiring her. They're hiring me. And so anyway, she came, and interview went well. And the way they did it that day, they separated me from her, and they were showing her. Matter of fact, Donna Foster, I saw standing out here somewhere a minute ago, was touring Pam around the community, and I was in different meetings with students and other folks interviewing. And so that night we came together for dinner. Charles Williams was the commission chair, and so we came together for a meeting, dinner, break bread. I said, Mr. Williams, let me introduce you to my wife. I got her at 1-800-RENT-A-WIFE. And they still hired me. Brad Neese, VP for Economic Development. Brad, appreciate you being here. And Randy Johnson. Randy is the VP for Finance. All these other people, they just ignore them and go straight to Randy. Randy, we got any money? And the ones that are here that are technical college presidents is Galen. Galen DeHay is here from, I was about to say Greenville, Galen. Tri-County Tech. Stand up, Galen. Michael Makota is here from Spartanburg. And I saw my good friend, colleague, confidant, and person that we always getting in trouble about trying some kind of initiative, Walt Tobin out there from Orangeburg, OC Tech. All right, let me see where I'm at here. I'm not making my way down this list very fast. But y'all know what? I don't care. Okay, I will. I'll move along here, Dr. Rivers. PTC Foundation Board. Any institution of higher education, you've got to have a solid fundraising arm. You can get enough money to sort of do the things you need to do, or you have to do, or that are required to do. But the best I've ever heard it described is that margin of excellence that you have to go from a good institution to be a great institution. And it's just like in your own budgets. Yeah, this is what we got to have, but this other amount, these enhancements are what you need to do the things you need to do. And sometimes, Randy, just to get around state purchasing and other kind of guidelines to do something you need to do, but everybody in state government said, you can't do that. And that's the critical thing about, I think, the foundations. But if you're a member of the Piedmont Tech Foundation Board or former member, would you please stand? Let us thank you for all you do. One of the things that was started by Dr. Walters and Fran that works with the foundation was a Cornerstone Society. And these folks have given gifts either through an endowment or through their life estate that will go to the college. And they're members of the Cornerstone Society here today. If you would please stand, be recognized. I touched briefly on this earlier. Nothing really happens by any one person going it alone on something. Synergy is absolutely necessary in everything we do. And I think one thing that most people don't realize is how well the school superintendents in this area. I got introduced to a group called WEPEC, Western Piedmont Educational Consortium. Did I say that right, Jim? And it's a group of the school superintendents that mostly represents the same footprint as the college, and they meet regularly to strategize, talk, help each other solve problems. And that group is just tremendous to work with. I know I met with them. Dr. Rivers is meeting with them now. And I know Jim Suber is here today. And is there any other superintendents here with us today? If you would please stand and be recognized. I can't remember important things, but other kind of stuff I can remember. And sometimes it's to the detriment, sometimes it's the good. But one of the things that really struck me was when I took Dr. Rivers over to introduce her to the WEPEC group before I retired, was that she said that Jim Suber was her high school basketball coach. And I knew she was okay then, because she got the Jim sign of approval. So one of the things the college does that's very important in any community college, technical college, is working with economic development. All the folks, it takes a lot of people. It goes back to something, I know people don't like to hear Hillary Clinton's name or whoever said this, but it takes a village to raise a child. It takes a village to recruit an industry. We've got Tage in here. We've got Lonza represented. We've got other companies represented here that at one point in time, they decided to locate in South Carolina. Brad would tell you this. Between Commerce, the General Assembly, the local government entities, all the players, the people that are on the ground working with these companies, working with the site selectors and all, they're not looking to start with why they should come to your community. They're looking why they shouldn't come to your community. And it takes one thing, doesn't it, Lauren, that they don't see that they want, and they've got other communities that are out there with very similar things that they're looking for. But I'd like to recognize all the folks that work with economic development, Chamber of Commerce, et cetera. If you're involved in any of those activities, please stand up and be recognized. Let us thank you for what you do. This college is here really for one reason. That's to provide opportunities for folks to live a better life. And my way of thinking is that means somebody's going to get a job somewhere doing something. Somebody's going to employ them. And we're here to serve the needs of business and industry. So if you represent a business or industry in this region, would you please stand and be recognized? Stand up. One of the most delightful groups that I've had an opportunity to work with since being here is presidential ambassadors. We have lunches, we have meetings, we have talks. Sometimes they cry, sometimes they're happy. Most of the times they're happy. Antonia is one of the former presidential ambassadors who is at the University of South Carolina now. And there's no doubt at some point in time, if I live long enough, I'm going to see her name read as the newest Supreme Court justice because she's going to law school. But to all the presidential ambassadors, we thank you for all that you do. You know, a college, this building is nothing but concrete, steel, whatever else is in the. But without a faculty and staff, nothing happens. And I try at every graduation to make sure I recognize the faculty and the staff because that's what is where the rubber meets the road. It's where the magic happens. And I'd like, if you're a member of the faculty staff of Piedmont Technical College, please raise your hand, stand up if you're under the tent. But I want to thank you all for everything you did during the time I was here and what you will continue to do day in and day out that you have done from the beginning. I got to tell y'all a funny story real quick that ties into the next group I'm supposed to introduce if I can find them over here. Hold on just a second. Antonia's looking at me now, thinking, aren't you going to get this over with? When the ones of you from Newberry or have been to Newberry and have seen that facility up there, beautiful facility, was a old Walmart to start with. And when we first were approached with a possibility of getting a sales tax referendum up there, we were looking at what we might want to do, and somebody came up with a Walmart building. So we went and looked at it. Let me tell you, it'd been sitting there empty for a while. It just didn't look good. Well, we obviously didn't have as good architects on it as we had on this one, because the first thing they came back with, and Jim Clauber, who's out here, who used to work for Piedmont Tech, he's up in Virginia, I believe now. Maryland, I know it's one of them states up there. But Jim was involved in that, and the first rendering of the building we got, all they did was painted the colors different. And I told those architects, I said, if y'all, the ones you know me, know that I just pretty much don't sugarcoat nothing. I said, let me tell you, I could have done better than this. And I can't even pick colors out. I said, if you can't do better, we're going to get us another architect. We're going to fire y'all. And they came back with this beautiful design. And Will Hinckley and Scott May here. I see Scott. Yeah, there they are. LS3P Architects. Well, the first rendering of this building, I said something kind of similar. I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was, I don't think that's what we want. Well, this is what we've drawn up. And I said, well, y'all need to go back to the drawing board. And he said, well, what are you looking for? And I said, well, I don't know, but I'll recognize it when I see it. And he said, well, I need something a little more concrete. And I said, it needs to look something like Newberry. Well, it looks a lot like Newberry, and I think y'all did really good listening to that, because it really turned out well, and I think that's a really good design, and we appreciate all the work y'all did. And while I'm thinking here, Chad Teague and the facility groups that worked with this, Chad's retired now. I know he's here somewhere. I saw him. There he is right back there. Chad worked with the contractors, with the architects, and everybody, making sure this building was finished and that the punch list was done, and you're going to get to see what we think is a very nice facility that will serve folks for years to come. And I saw Sam Lehman out there. Where's Sam? Sam guided us through the USDA process, works for Upper Savannah, and is anyone here from USDA, Sam? What? Is there anyone here representing the USDA? You are, right? Okay, that's what I thought. Thank you. And any other guests that we have, friends of mine, enemies, whatever, we appreciate you coming out. You know, we had this guy over in Lafayette one time, and he was notorious, and it was the best attended funeral they ever had in that community. And folks were talking, and they were trying to figure out, Richard, why this funeral was so well attended. And finally, they said, well, about 30% of the people came there because they were mourning his death, and the other 70% came just to make sure he was dead. And so, you know, I guess some of y'all might be here to make sure I am retiring, and but it's true. Dr. Rivers and I haven't had no kind of conspiracy going on this, and right now I'm going to sit down. I think I've said enough.
When you give him the microphone, that's what you get. My name's Tim Hardy. I have the pleasure of serving as the president of the South Carolina Technical College System. I appreciate the invitation from Dr. Rivers to come this morning. Let me start my brief remarks with thanking the Odell family for their legacy. I just think it's a piece that this will live on for years to come and benefit thousands of students in this area. On behalf of the South Carolina Technical College System, I'd like to offer my congratulations to Dr. Ray Brooks for his service of the 7 counties in the Piedmont Technical College service area and to the rest of South Carolina. I became president of Central Carolina Technical College in 2007. About a year later, 2008, Ray arrived at Piedmont Technical College. When he arrived, he was loud. He had lots of energy, and he believed in getting things done today. He never changed during the years he served here at Piedmont Technical College. He had lots of interest in, Dr. Rivers kind of alluded to this, I'll call them his Georgia sayings. Some of them I could repeat, some of them not. But the trait that I think best describes Ray Brooks is his belief that students come first. He worked tirelessly to serve the students of Piedmont Technical College. Thousands of lives were improved because of his work here. Now think about the magnitude of that statement. Thousands of lives were influenced because of his work at Piedmont Technical College. I'm not sure if Dr. Rivers was good enough to do this on purpose, but knowing her, I think she probably was. I noticed the CDL truck across the way that I'm looking at right now that says, a fast, flexible path to a new career. That's what Ray provided for people when he was here. So I appreciate you putting that there for me, you know, on that side. I probably actually got to know Ray a little better when I took the job as assistant president. About once a month, he'd call me about one issue or another, and we'd talk for a few minutes, and he'd usually close the conversation with, well, Tim, if they just put the two of us in charge of things for about a week or two, we could get some things done here in South Carolina. And I actually think he's still right. So in closing, I know the event today is to recognize him for his work at Piedmont Technical College. But many of you don't realize that his wisdom, his innovation, and his drive made our 15 other technical colleges better. Because the presidents, they always listened to Ray when he spoke, and the presidents, in particular the 3 of them that are here today, they're always willing to borrow a good idea. Ray, the entire South Carolina Technical College system is better because of the influence that you had on me personally and the other presidents. I thank you for a job well done.
Good afternoon. I'm Jim Medford, and I'm proud to be the chair of the Piedmont Tech Foundation Board. And this is a day for me personally of mixed emotions. One, Dr. Ray Brooks became a very close personal friend of mine over the years. I arrived on the scene on the foundation board when he arrived here as the second president of Piedmont Tech. So for the last 13 years, I've heard every Rayism known to man. when I accepted the chair position, I didn't realize the toughest job was keeping the agenda on track. So I won't mention any names why that was a challenge. But I'm going to just tell a couple of quick stories because they're worthy of it. First of all, to the Odell family. I wanted to make some remarks, and I encourage you all to Google Senator Billy Odell. The list of accomplishments that he had done is amazing. And to even summarize that would be up here for an hour. But there's some passions that he had. Family, as you're sitting here, you're blessed. But he also had education, health care, that were right at the top of his passion list. So when it came to education, he served as a school a chair of a superintendent in Ware Shoals. He was a PTC ambassador. So everywhere you looked, of all the recognitions of the legislator of the year, and you can go on in all of these categories. When you look at Piedmont Tech and what this institution offers as far as training and development, you can almost follow Billy Odell's passions. In the healthcare arena, he was a champion of all causes. And I know he had not only a significant impact on Piedmont Tech, but he also did the Burton Center and the Genetics Center as well. So I had the privilege of knowing Billy, and it's a loss that we have, but we were also blessed to have his presence. So Gail, this is a story involving you. So we had talked about who could we really epitomize what this creation is behind us, and it was unanimous that Billy Odell needed to be on this building's side. So we are all excited about that, and we talked about it, and we were ready to roll. And this is right before Christmas. I don't know if you remember. I was still traveling at that time. My family was up. I get this phone call from Ray. He goes, "Oh my God." He goes, "You know what we've got to do?" He said, "We've got to ask the Odell family if that would be okay if we put Billy Odell's name on the side of the building." He said, "Do you know how to get a hold of Gail?" I said, "No, but I know somebody who does, because Theo Lane has every woman's name in Greenwood listed in a phone book." So I called Theo, and of course he had your phone number. So we meet at the Duke Energy building out there late in the afternoon. I think it was the day before Christmas Eve, to ask the family's permission to put his name on this building. So that was some advanced planning that went into this. So for the past 13 years, there's three things that take to make this happen behind me. One is the community support, and I look around here, and there is every major player in industry and civic and community that's here, that's present, and the support that was given to pass the capital sales tax was significant. So a round of applause to everybody here. The second thing you have to have is the vision and support of our South Carolina delegation, led up by Billy Odell at the time. And the last one is a presence, a vision, and a storm cloud that blew into Greenwood 13 years ago from Georgia. And what I love about Ray is he's a risk taker, a gambler at times. And I was sitting at a dinner with our Artesian friends at our club, and there was a lot of adult beverages being served. Sake, beer, American bourbon. I mean, You know, and I was liking my chances, you know, because both Ray and I are kind of bigger in stature than them, so we felt that our body could hold the alcohol a little bit better. Boy, were we wrong. Because we all, after all this, we sit down, and then the conversation turned very seriously to, we need a workforce, a trained workforce. And Ray says it came out of my mouth. I really believe it came out of his mouth, that we were going to build an advanced manufacturing training center here in Greenwood, and we'd have it up and running, and you would train your workforce before you even started, like we did in Lawrence with ZF Transmissions. And so the next morning, after that long night, I get this phone call from Ray. He goes, "Did we really say that?" And I said, "No, Kimosabi, you did." He says, "Well, we got to figure this out." So here we are. And it takes all of that from a leader to make this happen. And while I'm sad to see Ray retire, his friendship will always be with me. I'm proud to have Dr. Hope Rivers come in. Her and I have spent some time together lately, and I am amazed and impressed every day with your wife and your mother. To listen to her speech earlier today, that was the first time I really heard her speak publicly. What an outstanding job. And there's so many things that, you know, when you're in line with each other that you don't think about. I see her family, beautiful family, walk up. They all have yellow on. All right? Yeah. I never, ever, ever wear yellow. There was something in me when I reached in my closet, and there's this yellow tie hanging in, and I thought, I might as well mix it up a little bit. So here we are. I will tell you a little story about Dr. Rivers, too. I had lunch with her just a couple of weeks ago, talking about a lot of different things as far as the college and how we can definitely partner with industry further to fill up the vacancies and workforce development needs that we have. And I wanted it to be relaxed, so I had it at my house, and we were sitting out in the backyard, and I had made a salad, which impressed my wife, and I had served some cookies, oatmeal raisin cookies. And these were awesome cookies. So we're sitting there, and I'm talking, so I'm not paying attention. So finally I looked down on her plate, and she had picked out every single raisin. So I found out quickly that oatmeal raisin cookies is not on the menu for the next time. But finally, what we have in common is and this was not planned. It was not planned. The Rayism she used first was the turtle on the fence post. I was thinking that as well. So I went to a local artisan, and I gave her a whopping 48 hours notice to whip this out. Her name's Karen Johnson, and I asked her to do a little gift from us to take home and hang proudly over your fireplace mantle, somewhere center of your house. It's so awesome. I saw this at 8:15 this morning. I had to stop and pick it up because she was still working on it last night, and it had me a little worried.
I actually got one down in Saluda.
Do you?
Down there somebody put one on. There's one sitting down there.
Well, take my thunder away. And then the caption even, he didn't get there on his own. So, Ray, from us to you, we want you to have this. And last but not least, in honor of your 13 years of service, dedicated, serving with distinction and honor, You need this to go along with those comments. It says, I got lucky on hole 13 at the links at Stony Point. All right, now I turn it over to the people that really make the wheels turn. Mr. Steve Brown, Chairman of the Greenwood County.
I apologize for the cane. Someone said, what is it? I said, well, some people have a security blanket. I have a security cane. Let me say to you that it is a special privilege for me to be here this morning and to bring greetings from the Greenwood County Council. I would like to stop at this point and ask all of my colleagues who served with me on County Council to please stand. We have a number here. Have Miss Edith Childs, Mr. Theo Lane, and Dr. Chuck Mokes. Thank you for being here. Where's Robbie? Robbie's back there. Yeah, Robbie's here. Sorry about that, Robbie. We're here to celebrate the grand opening of the Odell Upstate Center for Manufacturing Excellence, named in honor of the late Senator Billy Odell. It is fitting to recognize the service and contributions of the senator. Most of us want the same thing. We want to live together, we want to improve the quality of our lives, and we want to improve our community. Senator Odell gave the best years of his life to doing just that. This building will serve as a reminder to all of the life and legacy of Senator William Odell. After Dr. Rivers was introduced to us as president of Piedmont Technical College, I heard some folks say to her, "You have some big shoes to fill." I have given some thought to what they meant by saying that to her. Could she ever tell unending stories like Ray Brooks? Could she show up at one of our county council members driving a sports car that she put together with her own hands? Could she walk in a room and cause everyone in the room to begin laughing, anticipating what was about to be said? While all of this is Ray Brooks, it isn't the big shoes referred to by so many. Among the many qualities of Ray Brooks that stands out to me is his leadership. I read something recently that speaks to the real leadership as reflected by Dr. Brooks. Leadership means having the self-confidence to believe you can make a difference, the passion to believe it matters, and the courage to risk it all because you believe it matters. Leaders should not be defined simply by their popularity, but by their willingness to take risk, by their ability to share credit, the strength to admit errors, and their willingness to pick themselves up and keep leading and motivating and partnering for the broader good. Leadership is not about quick fixes, clever slogans, about dividing citizens, or about polling numbers. Sometimes leadership means telling citizens what they need to know rather than what they want to hear. Sometimes you must stand alone. But to paraphrase Dr. Martin Luther King, it won't always be easy. You won't always be surrounded by supporters when it is time to stand and lead. But today, to you, Dr. Brooks, you are indeed surrounded by supporters because the people of this region are present today to recognize the leadership you brought to our communities. This building would not be here today without your vision. You brought us all together and articulated that vision to us. Your vision was so strong that we were able to convince our citizenry to vote to tax themselves to generate millions of dollars for this project. The impact of your work to make this facility a reality will never end. Someone once said, wisdom is knowing what to do next, and virtue is doing it. So to you, Dr. Brooks, I say you're both wise and virtuous. Best wishes as you leave us. Our prayer for you is recorded in Numbers chapter 6, 24 through 26. The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious to you. The Lord turn his face toward you and give you peace. God bless Dr. Ray Brooks and his family. God bless the Billy O'Dell family. God bless Greenwood County, and God bless each of you. Thank you.
Thank you for allowing me to participate in this ceremony today. We're here to honor two very special people. In particular, Senator Billy O'Dell, who's very special to me. Gail, Chip, Michelle, thank you so much for being here. It's good to see you again. Billy's name is really deserved to be on this building. He wouldn't like all this fanfare, but it's deserved. You know, Billy O'Dell had the unique ability of being a mentor to people like me. Floyd is here, Floyd Nicholson. Billy has worked with us. And Billy had the unique ability of when he was speaking to whoever he was speaking to, one-on-one or with a group, he made you feel like you were the most important thing in his life right then. And that, folks, is a gift that we are lacking in a lot of our leaders. Nikki McCarter's here from Clemson University Board of Trustees. You and Billy go way back. Glad to have you with. Billy's reach goes far and wide. In and then you've heard me tell the story, when I got elected to the House in '06, Billy had already been in the Senate 20 years. And, you know, I was young and I was going to save the world and all this stuff. And I'd write up this piece of legislation and I'd always go to Billy. I said, Billy, tell me what you think about this. He'd take his glasses and he'd write them down. He'd read the whole thing. And he'd look at me and he'd pat me on the arm and he said, Mikey, we've tried this before. It don't work. But if you want to, we will. So after the fourth visit, I quit going. So, but at that time, I was the most important thing going on in Billy O'Dell's life right then, and that's a unique ability. Billy O'Dell was not only a state senator, he was a statesman, and that's what's sadly lacking. We're Columbia, we still have some there, but Billy O'Dell was a giant in the Senate, and the things that he's done that reach all across the state of South Carolina is just amazing, the leadership and the vision that he had. And Gail, Chip, Michelle, we wish y'all all the best. And that brings me to Ray Brooks. First time I ever met Ray Brooks was through Billy O'Dell. I was brand new in the house. Billy called me and said, come over to the office and I'll introduce you to the new president at Piedmont Tech. And I said, well, Billy, I said, I got a meeting at 10:30. He said, and it was like 9:30 then. He says, well, you're not going to make that meeting, but come on anyway. He said, and he was right. I think we got done about 11:30. But Ray was certainly a joy to work with. And after that meeting, I told Senator O'Dell, I said, you know, me and Ray Brooks going to get along fine because we think and talk a lot alike. But, you know, he's done a wonderful job. You know, Ray's the only person I ever know that enjoyed retirement so much he's tried it 2 times. You know, but Ray, we're going to miss you. We appreciate everything you've done for Piedmont Tech. We appreciate everything you've done for the state of South Carolina, the technical college system, and we wish you all the best in your retirement. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. It is absolutely a pleasure to be here today. Isn't this a beautiful day? It turned out nice. We were worried. Thank you very much. The good Lord is shining down upon us. There are so many things that we can say about Piedmont Technical College, its leadership, and the relationship between the government and the private industry. And right here in Greenwood, we have set an example for the entire state. And with the leadership of Ray Brooks, I see Jim Clobber over there with Lex Waters back in the day. It has always been a tremendous vision that we've had in the past, in the present, and I'm looking forward to the future. Ray Brooks, you have taught us well. You have taught us what we should be doing. And what I really love about you is you always talk about your people. That's the most important thing. And I'm glad to hear, Ms. Rivers, that you are also talking about your people. The first thing you did when you started talking was talking about your people. It takes a team. We cannot do this without the team. Those private folks back there who donated this land, thank you. A government can't operate without its people. A government can't operate without a collaboration between the government and the people and the good things that we do. We had the leadership of Billy O'Dell. God, I get to sit and work with his secretary, Kathy Marsh. Can y'all imagine that? She was there with John Drummond, and she was there with Billy O'Dell. And all I got to do is ask her a question. As a young senator, I say, well, how do I do this? And you know what she says? Exactly what I'm supposed to do. So it's just wonderful. And she's from Greenwood. So it's just a wonderful thing that we have that ability to do the things that we need to do. I'm looking forward to the future. I want to help Ms. Rivers. I want this new team of senators, this new team of legislators. Thank you, county. Thank you for the penny sales tax. Thank you for the private leadership. Thank you for all the leadership that we have here. Let us continue to work together. I want to hear your vision. I want to hear your vision now for the future. And if we can do half the job that Billy O'Dell did, Senator Nicholson did, and all the other representatives, then it'll be a great day in South Carolina. Thank you.
Well, I want to thank you for being invited to this event. It's really a great thing, and it does show the cooperation of many people. You know, last year, Piedmont Tech is really an important institution to me. You know, my dad, this was his last job. He worked for NASA, Boeing. He worked on the Saturn V booster rocket. A lot of people don't know that. But his last job was teaching here at Piedmont Tech, and he really enjoyed it. And he retired from here. So this place helped put bread on my table, you know, and I'm thankful for that. But last year, Dr. Brooks gave me the honor. You know, during COVID, we snuck in here, and you know, you're not supposed to do anything, but we snuck in here, and he'll break a rule now. Let me tell you. But we snuck in here, and he took me around and showed me all these machines and he understands all of it. Now, I can't say I really grasped everything he was telling me, but he would talk about programming these robots and what they're going to do and all the things that they could do. And he had a demonstration over there he did and got somebody, come over here and let's do this. And I tell you what, you know, the passion really came out. And I sat there and watched him, and you know, he just had a kind of a gleam in his eye. And you know, that passion is what it takes. He's been working for this thing for a long time, and it's his dream come true. I also, you know, I sit there and looked at him, and I thought, you know, he's got that twinkle in his eye like Santa Claus, like he's getting something, giving something to somebody. And you know, I don't know if y'all heard that about it reminds me of the 4 stages of Santa Claus. You know, the first stage is you believe in Santa Claus. And the second stage is you don't believe in Santa Claus. The third stage, you become Santa Claus. And he's actually, the third stage is you are Santa Claus and you're giving out things. And he's made the third stage. The only people I see that made the 4th stage of Santa Claus are the senators here. The senators and the former senator. The 4th stage is you look like Santa Claus. My items in the budget just got taken out. But anyway, Dr. Brooks, we appreciate you. You know, your vision is the same vision that Dr. Rivers has, that the whole technical institution of our state has, and that is to provide practical job training that empowers people to pursue their dreams and support their families. And so, you know, this is what you leave us with. We appreciate that more than you know, and you will affect many, many lives here in our area and around the state and even around the world. So thank you for all you've done. This is a great day, great opportunity. Thank you, Odell family, for all you've done, and thank you, Dr. Rivers.
Well, thank you all for those great comments and stories about Dr. Brooks. Of course, to Gail, we thank you for being here. Thank you just for your graciousness. We are now going to move to the next phase. I'm looking at Russell, of the ceremony, which is actually cutting the ribbon. So I would like for the following folks to join us for the ribbon cutting. And of course, that's Dr. Brooks, Steve Brown, Mr. Medford, Dr. Hardy, no more doctors. We have Senator Gambrell, Senator Garrett, McGravy, and Mr. Kane, and then the Odell family, if you will join us. And actually, we're going to ask you, Miss Odell, if you will cut the ribbon for us. So while we transition to that, I also want you to know that later on, after we've kind of finished that piece, some of you will ask to stay around so we can take some pictures in the front of the building, and that would be the area commission, the foundation board, the legislative delegation, if you could stay around so we could take pictures in the front, the Odell family, county council, and then the president's leadership team, if you all will stay around to take a picture, the Brooks family. I guess we will now make our transition to the cutting of the ribbon. Let me also say, as they're moving forward, we do have brunch ready for you all. So for those of you that would like to stay around and tour the facility, the president's ambassadors will be around to kind of walk you through the building, and then brunch is in what we call the flex room, so it's in the back of the room.